Have you ever had a dream that felt, I don't know, I guess more real than your waking life? Or a moment, or maybe just a few seconds, where you felt connected to something beyond yourself? Hey, I'm Jonathan, and this is Echoes Above, where we search for meaning in the unexplained. And today, we're cracking open one of the most mysterious phenomenons in existence: consciousness. So, from ancient allegories and government funded psychic experiments to the science of telepathy caught on tape, this episode is going to ask you, the viewer, is your mind a receiver or the signal itself? Let's start with a metaphor that's over 2,000 years old yet still disrupts minds today: Plato's cave. So imagine this: a group of people are chained inside a cave. They've been there since birth. Behind them burns a fire. Between the fire and the prisoners, though, puppeteers casting shadows on the wall. These prisoners, they think the shadows are reality because it's all they've ever known. But then one prisoner escapes. He stumbles outside into the blinding light of the real world. It's overwhelming, I'm sure. Painful, even. But slowly he sees the sun, the trees, the people, reality. And when he goes back to tell the others, they don't believe him. They're hostile. They cling to the shadows. So, why start here, though? Because this allegory mirrors the question at the heart of consciousness: are we mistaking shadows for reality? You see, philosophers and physicists alike have echoed this metaphor, suggesting that our perception might just be a filtered simulation of something far greater. Okay, so now we're fast forwarding quite a bit to the 70s. And I'm telling you right now, science took a turn straight from the X-Files. At Stanford Research Institute in Menlo Park, physicist Hal Puthoff, along with engineer Russell Targ, they ran a series of controversial experiments that tested one thing: can the mind access distant information? This project, funded by the CIA, would later be known as Project Stargate. And the method they used? Remote viewing. There, test subjects like the famed psychic Ingo Swann, they were asked to see inside locked vaults across the globe using only their minds. Coordinates were sealed, locations were classified, but somehow the viewers got it right. Again and again and again. Hal Puthoff wrote that consciousness might not be constrained by space or time, hinting that the brain could function like a receiver, tuning into information that exists non-locally. Of course, skeptics cried pseudoscience, but others saw something deeper: that consciousness might not emerge from the brain, but it might use the brain. Now we're going to fast forward even further to now. You might think science has moved on, but a documentary quietly released in 2022 suggests otherwise. Filmmaker Kai Dickens released a short titled The Telepathy Tapes. In this modern day experiment, strangers were asked to sit in separate rooms, thousands of miles apart. One was shown a vivid emotional image: a war photo, a mother holding a child, or a funeral. The other person just asked to meditate and speak freely about whatever came to their mind. And what they described matched the target image far too often to just be left up to chance. There's no mind reading here either, and no electrodes. Just consciousness somehow bridging a physical divide. Dickens herself said, "I wasn't trying to prove anything, but what we captured was undeniable." And here is what I found the most chilling: in many trials, the emotion transmitted more than the details. It's as if the feeling itself was the signal. So, what is consciousness, though? It's not just a stream of thoughts. Maybe it's an energetic field. Now, here's where we're going to dive just a little bit off the deep end, though. Because what if consciousness isn't just something we have, but the fundamental building block of the universe. This is the idea behind panpsychism, a belief held by thinkers from Spinoza to modern physicists like David Chalmers. I mean, come on, even Nobel Prize winning physicist Roger Penrose has explored whether consciousness arises from the quantum structures in the brain called microtubules, or a theory called Orch-OR, co-created with Stuart Hameroff. Now, is it proven? No. Is it dismissed? Also no. In fact, some argue that if we can't measure consciousness, maybe that's because we're using the wrong tool. You don't measure gravity with a thermometer. Maybe we're trying to decode consciousness with meat-based instruments, when consciousness itself might be the instrument. So, the deeper we dive, the blurrier the line between science and mystery becomes. From Plato's shadows to CIA psychics to digital age telepathy tape, one thing's clear, and that's just that we don't understand what consciousness even is. But we do know that it's powerful. It remembers, it connects, it creates, and maybe, just maybe, it transcends. We spend so much time looking outward through telescopes, microscopes, satellites. But what if the greatest mystery is inside? What if the mind is more like a door, not to some fantasy realm, but to information, connection, and existence that we can't comprehend yet? Now, so what do you really think consciousness is? Is it a byproduct of the brain, a spiritual signal, or some kind of universal field? I honestly have no idea. And if you want to support this channel, subscribe, hit that like button, and share this episode with someone who's always asking, what if? Until next time, though, keep your mind open and your eyes on the skies.